Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Saturday, the 27th of November 2021, and we're publishing our gold and silver weekly update for the week ending the 26th of November. Gold fell $53 last week, falling from $1,846 to $1,793, having hit a high of $1,849 and a low of $1,779, a fall of 2.8%. In sterling terms, gold finished the week at £1,343, that's down £30. And in euros, it closed at €1,583, that's down €53. So not a good week for gold, but an even worse one for silver, because silver fell $1.46, falling from $24.61 to $23.15. Just when we thought that perhaps the dollar's value of silver was going to start to slowly rise. It hit a high of $24.91 and a low of $22.94, a fall of 6%, more than double that of gold. In sterling terms, silver closed at £17.34. That's down 97 pence, or nearly a pound. And in euros, it closed at 20.45 euros. That's down 1.38 euros. The gold to silver ratio rose from 75 to 1 to 77.5 to 1. Bitcoin also fell last week, $3,416. It seems to be in a slight downtrend at the moment, and currently stands at $55,194. If you consider approximately 2 weeks ago it was $69,000. The Dow Jones closed on Friday at 34,899, down a whopping 905 points on the day and 702 points on the week. Had it not been for Friday, it would have had a moderately nice week. The S&P 500 closed at 4,594, down 106 points on the day and down 103 points on the week. So had it not been for Friday, once again, it would have been a rather nondescript week for the S&P. The Nasdaq Composite closed at 15,491. That's down 353 points on the day and down 566 points on the week. So clearly the Nasdaq was under pressure in any case. So a pretty bad week for equities, especially on Friday. Brent crude closed at $72.72. That's down a whopping $6.17 on the week. And WTI crude closed at $68.15, down an even more whopping $7.79 on the week. A sight, frankly, we're pleased to see for the benefit of retail customers. And it's still standing at sufficient levels so that those involved in the industry can still make plenty of profit. Like we've said frequently before, we would love to see Brent and WTI prices fall in that $50 to $60 bracket to make it somewhat more fair, realistic, and advantageous for commerce as a whole. The dollar index stands at 96.08. That's up 0.05 on the week, though we've seen the index closer to 97 earlier in the week and reported in our daily updates. Now, we concluded last week's video with the following forecast. Quote, our best estimate is that we expect to see gold trading between 1810 and 1910, with 1790 and 1930 as outliers. We can see silver trading between $24 and $25.60, with $23.50 to $26 as outliers. Perhaps for the first time, rather positive for us for gold and silver, or certainly for a long time. Well, gold did trade broadly within our normal range and occasionally traded to the lower side of our outlier range, and momentarily even fell below our predicted low, but closed within our outlier range by the end of the week. Not quite the case with silver, because that traded within our outlier range mainly, but like gold, dipped below that outlier low and even closed below our outlier low. We clearly were too optimistic for silver. And the advent of this new variant of COVID has not only hit equity markets, but may also very well drive silver into the doldrums if international lockdowns once again become a reality. For much of the week, the dollar remained extremely strong, but fell back somewhat towards the end of the week, while still closing higher overall. Now, looking at the economic data that came out from the US, we can see that flash manufacturing PMI was up, whilst the services PMI was down. Weekly jobless claims were considerably lower, and consumer spending was up, and the UMich Consumer Sentiment Index was higher than expectations. But on the negative front, durable goods orders were down. Core inflation was higher in October compared with September, but equaled expectations at 4.1%. Now, in fairness, there was no economic news reported for Thursday because of Thanksgiving Day, and no data published on Friday. But it's very different this coming week. This is what we have. Monday, pending home sales for October. Tuesday, Chicago PMI for November and the Consumer Confidence Index for November. Wednesday, an important ADP employment report. Also market manufacturing final PMI and the ISM manufacturing index, all for November, and construction spending for October. Thursday, the weekly jobless claims, and then on Friday, the all-important non-farm payroll report for November, something the Fed will be watching very closely for its next FOMC meeting. And we also have the unemployment rate and average hourly earnings, the market services final PMI, and the ISM services index, all for November. And also factory orders for October, though we suspect that data will be completely overwhelmed by the non-farm payrolls and the services PMIs. So an extremely important week for economic data, with of course Friday being the most important. Now, frankly, if it were not for the provision now, or possibility we should say, of further lockdowns due to this new COVID variant that's been announced, we would almost be certain that positive figures on the job front this coming week would drive gold and silver prices considerably lower, with the dollar rising significantly as the prospect of higher rates drew large. However, this has now been called a little into question if economic growth may be sacrificed in spite of current improving job numbers. Now, before we give our forecast gold and silver price prediction, let's look at the technicals. Technically, we have support for gold at the 50-day moving average of 1790, though we see this as being too close for comfort, and frankly would prefer to rely on the much frequently visited $1750 level underneath, and we have resistance at the 10-day moving average of 1825. There was no doubt some panic on Friday as traders came out with riskier assets such as equities and cryptocurrencies and moved some of their surplus cash into gold. But it wasn't enough to send prices higher for the week. The issue now is, will this self-correct on Monday, and will we see equities hurt even further or stage a recovery? We'll get some indication on futures trading Sunday night. Silver markets basically collapsed, and any monetary demand for silver was way overshadowed by any potential impact that may be made on its industrial demand should the world re-enter back into COVID lockdowns. We now have strong resistance at or near the 2450 level and tepid support at $23. And frankly would not be surprised if we saw silver heading closer towards $22 again. Geopolitically, we still have to keep an eye on Russia and the Ukraine and continuing tensions between the US and China. And add to this further threats by the European Union for sanctions on Russia will also add some spice to prices in the coming weeks. So how do we see gold and silver prices performing this week? Well, we're expecting a volatile week, especially as the economic data rolls out of the United States. What will set temperament somewhat will be how equity markets react on Monday, and we'll see whether we have further falls, whether they'll stabilize or even stage a recovery. Though we think a recovery is not that likely as early as Monday. But who knows? Either way, our best estimate is that we expect to see gold trading between $1,750 and $1,850, with $1,700 to $1,900 as outliers. We can see silver trading between $22.75 and $24, with $22.25 as outliers. Now, before we end this video, we'd ask you to share your thoughts and tell us what you think. But added to that, on Monday and Tuesday, we will be producing a morning update. Then it will be an evening update Wednesday, Thursday, because once again, I'm back into the city. And then on Friday, there'll be no video, and then we'll have the update again on Saturday, the weekly update. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel, not forgetting to press the bell sign so you're notified of our videos as and when they are published. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.